Hello, good morning, folks. There's James, he's on. Good to see you, James. Good to see you, Alison. Oh, thanks, Alison. Thanks for the shout out. Hope you're glad you enjoyed it. Morning, Ashley. All right, things are warming up here now. Good to see all of you guys. Good morning. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat, 3rd of August. Morning, Jay. I got your message last night, Jay. So, yep, we'll be catching up. I'll get on to that. Got a few meetings today, but I'll get the team to reach out and book you and I in, Jay. Fantastic. Michelle, good morning to you. Yasmin, a few of the regulars coming back. So welcome back, regulars. Good to see you. Anyone who's new, a few people jumping on now. So give us a shout out in the chat if you're new. Let us know where you're from. Jason Witten's my name, if you didn't already know. Been property investing a fair while, over 20 years, and coaching property investors over 18. And each morning, get together with a few crew and have a bit of a chat, Wealth Coffee Chat, matter of fact. Bit of a coffee, bit of a chat about a few things. So welcome if that's you. Welcome if you're new. Yeah, and if you've got any questions, chuck them in the chat. Alison's got one there. How do you know when it's time to transition from acquisitions to consolidation phase? Good question, Alison. Certainly the idea is around when you have acquired the number of properties that you want to acquire. Good morning, Shay, my love. So the idea, if you think about where you might be now, and let me just quickly maybe do a reverse engineer on this one as we go. Let me see if I can do this for you, Alison, while we're there. Morning, Brendan. Morning. Alison asked, how do you know when it's time to transition from acquisition to consolidation phase? Well, at the end of the day, Alison, if you have a goal, which might be a passive income goal, often that goal will be done in a couple of phases. You guys might have seen this before, right? We've got sort of the three levels of the income goals. Like, what do you need to replace your income? So the needs goal, for example, 100K. If I'm on 100K now, can I aim for, is there a stop along the way where my passive income goal is $100,000 of income from my properties? So, you would be seeking $100,000 in rent. Okay, so that'd be acquisition activity. Now, you might want a little bit more, and you might have some dreams about, going every year, having spare 50K to go on holiday and do whatever you want with. Whatever the number is, Alison, we're aiming for or looking to achieve that when it comes to our acquisition stage and the trigger that we have for it to transfer from acquisition into consolidation. So, for example, at a 5% return, that would equal $2 million worth of real estate. So $2 million worth of real estate over here. And let's say that would be at the moment, let's call it 3 to 4 properties in your acquisition process, okay? So if we have a look at that, Alison, and we're going, right, another mill, you're aiming for about $4 million worth of real estate, producing around about a 5% gross at the start, gross outcome. So it'll net down, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And that could easily be ending up at between 5 and 7 investment properties. Okay, so does that make sense? As I'm explaining it there, Alison, give us a shout out if it does. So when you've got that number of properties, and when you're here and you're going, all right, well, first investment property, second investment property, third, then might be fourth, fifth. This timeline here might be 7 to 10 years. Okay. So this is when you could say, all right, I'm going to now, instead of acquire, I'm going to now debt reduce. I'm going to now improve my real estate. At this point, you guys have seen this before. You've probably heard Sam talk about this. You got to improve your real estate. If it's 10 or 15 years old now, that's part of collecting the money and putting it in the buffer. You've got to freshen that property up. You've got to probably at that point reinvest maybe another $20,000 to $30,000 to fix up that property. And then that's where the rent goes from this number to that number, okay? It jumps up, especially if that property's in a good area, especially if you do a good renovation, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, and this is where we get the sort of the rents going up and the cost going down as we go here. So hopefully that makes sense, Alison. It was just a quick sort of off-the-cuff explanation, but it is, once you've acquired up the front, the number of or rent value of your passive income goal. But over 20 years, 15 to 20 years, your rents will go up. You guys know this. And your hopefully your expenses go down, your debts go down. Ultimately, you might start to debt reduce in one way, shape, or form. Like I said last night, the principal place of residence or your self-managed super fund, etc. And or those properties might end up getting in principal and interest payment role anyway. So they'll start to pay themselves off. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully that makes sense, Alison. And I'm happy to dive in a little bit deeper in that one at another time too, gang. So let me know if that's something that you'd like to do. All right. Good to see everyone here. We've got a good crew on this morning. Good morning, Nadine, joining us this morning. Fantastic. So I thought I got a question the other day. I can't remember who asked me the question. In the chat, somebody said, can you talk about NDIS? NDIS. National Disability Investment Scheme, I believe the words stand for, but it is being used right now as a way for property investors to build certain styles of properties and get quite a high income on those properties, okay? The idea is great. Will it work? Is it appropriate for everyone? The answer is no, it's not appropriate for everyone. But let me talk you through this type of stuff, because here's the 4 styles of deals out there, property deals, that are most common when it comes to multiple income real estate, multiple income, which means you have one property that you can get 2, 3, 4, 5 incomes from in one go. And that sounds amazing, and it is actually awesome if you can make it work. However, there's some downsides to the upside. So let's talk through that this morning. I thought that would be a good one to have a bit of a chat about dual income, duplexes, rooming houses, and NDIS, which is a government scheme. All right, so let's go through this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to have a look at dual income, okay? I had it around the wrong way. I don't know, is that the way you spell dual? I put an E there before, but I think that was dual as in, with a sword, folks. Let me know in the chat if I've got the spelling right. But anyway, spelling is not my strength, but I think I got it right. Dual income. So what is a dual income property? I'm going to draw a bit of a dodgy drawing here, but what happens is you might get a 1-bedroom property that you can rent out over here. Thanks, Brendan. And you might build a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom over here. But from the road, from the street, it looks like a normal property, okay? and it is all on one title. Okay, one title. Okay, now which is fantastic. Dual income properties, not a bad way to go. This will give you often a full 1%, even maybe 1 to 2% uplift in your rental yield. Okay, so if a normal house in this configuration might rent for 5%, then you're likely in the neighborhood of 6 to 7%, which is fantastic. No problems at all. I like the dual income. Matter of fact, I like the first two, the dual income and the duplex. So a tick in the box for me. Some of the challenges for the dual income, probably the only main challenge for the dual income is, let's do a little A. Main challenge is sometimes the property managers aren't used to, in that area, managing a property which has got like a little apartment and then another property attached to it. So you've got to be just cognizant of the property managers doing, the right job on a dual income property. Sometimes be cognizant this 1 bedroom or small 2 bedroom in a housing area might attract a very average tenant. So you've got to have a look at that. So property manager issue, tenant issue, but the one that concerns me the most, gang, is these properties often are built in very substandard locations for future growth at the cost of, at the excitement of the rental yield. We overlook the long-term growth location because we think the rental yield will cover up all of the challenges. And that's not true. In the future, you want that property to grow in value. But I do like a good dual income property. My preference is to have them located in very good spots. I wouldn't be building them a million miles from town as we go. But I like a good dual income. But my favorite is the duplex. The duplex deal. Now, a lot of people get dual income and duplexes confused, and they think they're the same thing. No, they are not, and they're not because, team, this one is one title. You cannot sell them separately. You can't split them and sell one and keep one. Okay, there's not that flexibility on a dual income property. It is one title with 2 dwellings under one roof, etc. Now, there's lots of zoning and restrictions and planning and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes too, team, sometimes these dual income properties, the banks don't particularly enjoy them, okay? So you've got to be careful of the lending. The lending on these, you could be restricted on the lending, okay? So just be cognizant of that. Watch out for cross-collateralization, cross-securitization. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need the right broker and the right coach, okay? So give us a shout out if you need the right broker, right coach, because I can tell you, you think you're doing well. You want to buy the next deal after you bought the nice dual income, and then you've got no equity left, and you're cross-securitized and cross-collateralized by some lazy lender or cheeky lender. Boom, it's over. You can't buy another property. So let's make sure we don't get caught in that one. All right, gang. So duplex deal. Duplex, these drawings are fairly basic. Most of the time, they have what's called a common wall, but you got 3 bedrooms on this side, 3 bedrooms on that side. They are on separate titles, so you could, they're completely standalone, and you could sell one and keep one. Okay, so that's a great thing about this. Oh, just watch up here on the dual income, the cost of the rates, gang. Just keep an eye on that, because some of the councils have been charging seriously over the top rates for dual income properties. So separate titles, what's good about these? I like those because you can separate them. You can get an uplift in value in a duplex very nicely because you go from one dwelling into two dwellings. It allows you to have the same rental income uplift as well. So you certainly would get, often a good full 1% uplift on a combination duplex. Send us a DM, Brendan. Send us a direct message, mate. Track me down on Facebook. I'll hook you up, buddy. So duplex, good. Separate title, can sell that property. Sometimes the challenge on these ones is the loan to value ratio. The lenders will restrict you sometimes at about 80% until they're complete. So the challenge would be, to do a decent duplex right now, team, gang, a good duplex you could probably pick up about 700 grand, about 700K, up to about $1.2 million, right? So 700 to $1.2 million, depending on the location. 700, maybe, a little less desirable area, really nice desirable area, $1.2 million, $1.4 million for a really nice duplex. However, the lending part of it, let's say you're at 700,000, you got to put 20% in plus your cost. That's going to run you. That's going to run you. Let's do the exact numbers. 700,000 times 0.25 is 175K. So you think, all right, I'll get into that deal, but you've got to put in a lot of cash up front to do a deal like a duplex. Okay, depending on your lending, of course. However, standalone, which I prefer them to be, that's what it looks like. Again, two incomes, separate titles. Probably my favorite out of the bunch of these ones, which would be duplex, dual income, rooming houses, and NDIS, as we go along. Okay, so hopefully this is making sense, giving a bit of an overview. I'll jump down the bottom here. All right, let's have a quick look at rooming houses. Rooming, number 3. This one, for most property investors, especially if you're in the early stages of your acquisition, for me is a big no-no. For most property investors, no is the answer. Do not do rooming houses. The challenge becomes these are very specialized pieces of real estate. And what it means is you build a big house and you might build, it's a bad drawing, but you might have 6 small little self-contained rooms inside one house, wherever it's located, and you rent them all out separately, like rooming house or boarding house. For me, that is not a passive investment scheme. That is an active investment scheme. The problems are the banks don't like them, and you'll potentially end up with commercial lending, or they'll cross-collateralize your house to the buggery-o, and you'll never buy another proper investment property, gang. So don't do it, I'm telling you, right now, unless you are a sophisticated investor, advanced, and quite a lot of income, and you specialize in stuff like this. This is not there you go, yep. So Sineth was talking about, look, this is, the insurance providers don't like them. Nobody likes them, gang, right? And so it's irrelevant, how good some of these things look on paper. If you're pushing shit uphill with a sharp stick, as the saying goes, it's going to be hard work. The banks don't like them. The insurers don't like them. The property managers don't like them. In my world, team, gang, I wouldn't do it. It's not for the faint-hearted. There are some people who make it work, but for most people I have coached, The fire department doesn't like them either. The councils don't like them. Team, they're big no. I'm just going to put no in there, all right? For the interest of our conversation this morning. All right, number 4, NDIS, which is basically you build a house, a regular house, and you build it with certain levels of finishes. You know, the ability to have a wheelchair in the kitchen so it can roll underneath the kitchen bench, certain reinforcement in the bathrooms, certain handles and cupboards at certain sizes, the hallway a little bit wider. There's certain things in an NDIS property. It's a special it's a special build. Now it's not not that much more expensive than a regular build, maybe $30,000 to $50,000 depending on where you are. But again, the NDIS is only allowed in certain locations. It will cost more, so it has more cost. Number 2, loan to value ratio, and the lenders, the banks, again, they don't like them. Standalone, that is. Like, you know, some of you guys might be listening in, anyone listening in, and you go, oh, no, I got a loan on my NDIS, no problems. Well, I can literally guarantee that you did not get a standalone loan without one or many of your properties being cross-collateralized or your other assets being taken as security, which is a big absolute no-no. So the banks don't like them. You have to put more money in, and they are specialized in property management. You have to work with a provider and so on. Now, we have done a number of these with some advanced clients, and they've worked out pretty fine. But they are not for the faint-hearted, and they certainly are not for team. They're not for someone who wants a little bit less hands-on, and passive investment process when it comes to building their portfolio. Okay, so NDIS, I give it sort of a half a tick, but again, it's not certainly if we go through this, rooming houses is a big no. I'd just say no. It's just a nightmare waiting to happen. Steer clear of them. Dual income and duplex, certainly worth doing at the right time in your portfolio. For me, I wouldn't be doing them at the start, the first type of deal, as you're rolling along. And then NDIS, probably if you wanted to do an NDIS deal, I wouldn't be doing it in the first 3 to 5 of my properties, building my portfolio. It might be a high cash flow deal at the end when you've got enough equity to put more equity in and it not matter. Okay, you've done your acquisition. It's 1 or 2 left to buy, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, gang. Well, I think I've been rabbiting on for quite a while this morning. So it was a bit of a long one, but hopefully that made sense, team. As we go, Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Duplex for the win. Yeah, that's my pick, Brendan. Duplex is my fave for all sorts of good reasons. And then probably I'd do dual income after that. That's probably sort of duplex, dual income if you were there. But again, team gang, connect with your coach and make sure you weave it into your strategy as you go along. Andrew, mate, it does. There's some warts on them, as you might already appreciate, but it's not the end of the world, Andrew. But certainly, you're certainly going to make sure you leave enough gas in the tank, Andrew, to do the next deal and the next deal and the next deal. So, as we're rolling along, give us a shout out if you need some help, mate. Always can give you some support if you get stuck. All right, gang, that's it from me. I'm done. I'm dusted. Wealth Coffee Chat, over and out. 3rd of August. You guys be awesome and well. Stay safe wherever you are in these rather interesting times. And join me tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat around about 8 o'clock. Until then, take care. Bye for now. Oh, that's good, Andrew. Thanks, mate. Carolyn's awesome. She'll take care of you.